All right, great morning. This is Sid Owsley from the Determination Determines Destination podcast, the 3Ds to success, where I share stories of people who use what I call the 3Ds to success. Determination determines destination to overcome obstacles and challenges in their life. And today I have on the show with me Stephanie Perry. At the age of 41, Stephanie quit her job as a hospital pharmacy technician to travel the world for a year on her savings. She visited 12 countries in 12 months, all on just $1,200 per month. Now she's a year round house sitter and pet sitter who helps Black women take a career break to travel on a budget by house sitting on her website, vicarious.com. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Sid. Glad to be here. I'm excited to talk to you about my very favorite subject.
I'm excited to have you on because this house sitting subject is something I've always been interested in. So I'm really interested in learning more about it.
Uh-huh.
So tell us your story about how you use what I call the 3Ds to success: determination determines destination, to overcome obstacles and challenges in your life, and to arrive at where you're at now, house sitting.
So my obstacle is something that a lot of people can relate to. My obstacle was that I felt like my job was holding me back. Like seriously, I felt like my job was getting in the way of me actually living.
Yeah.
I felt like the whole system was set up for me to work, 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 and then once I got retirement age and my body wouldn't be as cooperative, and I'd be a little more tired and wouldn't have as much energy, then I was expected to live, right? Like my whole life was
Right.
supposed to be all the good years were
Yeah.
supposed to be dedicated to doing something I didn't really enjoy doing, but that I felt like I had to do. And then I was supposed to squeeze in all the good stuff after 65 or 67. And that was the obstacle. That was not how I wanted to do it. I had traveled enough to enough parts of the world that I had seen that there are people who live full, complete lives during their working years. There are people who get 2 and 3 months of vacation time. There are people who can leave their job for 2 and 3 months at a time and know that they can come back and still earn an income when they use that time. There are people who have just time to do the things that they want to do, work on personal projects, do nothing, rest, sleep, spend time with their families. And so I was introduced to this, and I was determined that I was going to make this my new life model, right? That my life model was no longer going to be, I'm going to work, I'm going to come home exhausted, and I'm just going to count down the days until my next vacation. And then I'm going to count down the days until retirement. I was determined that I was going to do it a different way. So I found a different way. First, I started out just by quitting my job to travel, right? I quit the job. I wanted to go to Brazil, which you love. I wanted to go to Brazil for my 40th birthday. My job, I had plenty of vacation time. My job was like, well, I worked in a hospital pharmacy, and I worked night shift. And my job was like, well, you requested 6 days off. We'll give you 3 days. And they didn't even give me 3 consecutive days. Right? They didn't even give me 3 consecutive days. My job was so disrespectful. So I had to do all these shenanigans just to be able to take the vacation time that I had earned, right? But I did. I went to Brazil for my 40th birthday. It was also during the World Cup. So there was just a lot happening. I was in Salvador, and it was so much fun. And I met so many Americans, younger, like millennials, who were there I was there for 6 days. I met so many who were there for like 3 months. And they looked like, they did the same kind of work I do. They don't look like people who have trust funds. So I was like, how is it possible that you're here for 3 months? They're like, it's really inexpensive here. You can quit your job. You can stay here as long as you want, and then you can go back and get your job back. So boom, next thing you know, I had quit my job, and I was traveling for a year just on savings, on that $1,200 a month. But then I was like out of money. And I started Googling, how can I travel with no money? Because I had come back to work and I had gotten my job back. but I didn't like it anymore. It was no longer serving me. It was no longer letting me live. And so I was like, how can I travel with no money? And Google was like, you should be a house sitter. So boom, house sitting destination. Now I'm in
Right.
Mexico.
I like that story. That's that's so funny. You said you were in Salvador during that World Cup.
Mhm.
Uh, I was actually in traveling throughout Africa in that World Cup. I
Oh,
went
okay.
to and when I heard that because that was when South Africa got the World Cup.
South Africa was no, South Africa was the time before.
Okay.
Yeah,
Different time.
this was 6 years ago. So
Okay.
this would have been, yeah,
Oh,
eight,
so
nine. This would have
that
been
was when Rio
2000.
actually had the World Cup.
Yes. It was
Okay.
in, yes. It was
Okay.
in Rio. It was the Rio World Cup. Yeah,
Okay.
but they had some stuff happening in Salvador. Like, there were
Oh,
events all over the country. There were
okay.
like the US men's team was actually playing in Salvador when I
You
was
had a
there.
good time. You had a
Yeah,
good
it was
time.
fun. It was
El
fun.
Salvador is great.
It was so much fun. It
Yeah.
was fun. I'm so glad I went on that trip because that was a real eye opener, right? That's when I learned that, you can do things a different way. You can set your life up a different way. I'm so glad to those young millennials who put me on to trying a different model, right? Trying a different path for life instead of doing it the way that everybody says you have to do it.
You know, you notice something that I noticed that this younger millennial generation is doing things different.
They
They're
are.
not following the model of, as you said, work 30 to 40 years and then, get to enjoy your life. They're doing it totally different.
That's right.
Why do you think that that's happening?
Because they have seen it not work. They have seen it fail their parents, right? Their parents were the ones who got shafted or shammed by like the Enrons of the world. Their companies where they thought they were going to have a pension, and then boom, retirement age. I got no pension. They've stolen my money, right? They've seen their parents. They've seen us. Just not the things that we were promised didn't work, right? We were promised home ownership as a path to security in life, and then they saw the housing market do crazy things. They themselves went to college and then graduated during a recession and no jobs, right?
Yeah.
So they have seen that path that we were promised, that we were sold as the dream. They have seen it totally be a nightmare, and they're like, okay, let's try something different.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed too. They're not waiting. They're not, they know the promise is dead, and they're going to have to create this thing a totally different way for themselves.
Yes. They're doing it differently, and they're sharing how they're doing it differently so that we can see them doing it differently, and we can adjust fire as well, right?
Yeah,
So they're telling us, we make some changes, we tell other people, like you do on your show, like I do, tell other people, like, hey, there's a new way, there's a different way.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's it's so interesting to see that because, like you said, we were sold on this security thing, and like you said, the housing, and it's crumbling, but a new way has been made. So what? Like you said, you Googled how to travel with no money, and so what was the solution that you came up with?
House sitting. Google said house sitting is the way to travel with no money. So there are there are three big international house sitting services where you can say, hey, I will stay in your home and take care of things while you do whatever it is you're doing, So most of these people are traveling just to travel, but sometimes they're maybe traveling for work or traveling for school,
Mhm.
or they're retirees with a house in Canada and a house in Florida, and they want to leave Canada in the wintertime and go hang out in Florida or in Mexico while where it's warmer, snowbirds, right? So I stay in their home while they're traveling. So I get to travel to their city and enjoy myself in their wonderful home without paying for a place to stay. And then they get to go out and do whatever it is that they wanted to do that they wouldn't have been able to do if they didn't have somebody in the house taking care of things.
That sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds great. It's it may not be for everybody, but it's definitely a way. It's definitely a way. And if you're determined to travel and create a different life, that definitely sounds like a way to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about you have a course that's centered around this. Tell us more
I
about that.
do. I do, because people were always like, wait, how do you do that? How did you do that? I have a YouTube channel where I talk about house sitting, but people are like, no, I need a little more information. So I have House Sitter School. It's a video, it's a course video where I walk you through the process of getting yourself on these sites and getting your first house sit booked, right? Because it can be a little bit intimidating. The whole system is not a whole lot different from setting up a profile anywhere else, right? You go on Trusted House Sitters, which is the platform that I'm an ambassador for. Trusted House Sitters is an international house sitting site, right? So you go on Trusted House Sitters, you put on your profile, you make a little video introducing yourself, and you start applying for house sits. I help walk you through that in House Sitter School if you want somebody to walk you through that. And Sid has the links in the description of this video. You'll see the link to that. Or if you're listening to the podcast, go to the show notes and you'll see that information. Yeah, so I help people become a house sitter because seriously, I think house sitting is genius, right? Seriously, house sitting means that I don't pay for accommodation. I've been a year-round house sitter since 2017, 2018. I have not paid for accommodation in that time, except for like randomly here and there. Like right now, I came to Mexico for a 1-month house sit. I decided I wanted to stay here because I'm from Delaware and it's wintertime in Delaware and I'm not into wintertime. I boycott winter. So right now I'm paying to stay here. But I got here because of a 1-month house sit in Lake Tapalo, Mexico, which is a beautiful place. Wow. Very, very nice, good weather, good food. So house sitting means that you can, if you don't have to pay for accommodation, just think about how much less you have to work, right? How much less money you have to earn, because that is the biggest chunk of anybody's expenses.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, and I don't do it. I don't do it anymore.
I like how you've decided like I don't do it. I don't do winter and I don't pay accommodations. That's great.
Yeah, your destination, right? We're talking about determining your own destination. Your destination can be what you want it to be, right? People will sell you on this thing that you need to have winter time. You need things to die out so that they can be reborn in the spring. Not true. Because plenty of the world has no winter time at all, and they do just fine, right? You decide what things you like and what things you don't like. Until I spent a lot of time out of the US, I didn't really know which things were things that I really liked and didn't like, and which things I was just told I had to do, right? It's really hard when you're caught in the cycle of work and earn and achieve and achieve more and achieve more and achieve more. It's hard to know which things are the things that you have really chosen for yourself and which things people are just telling you have to do to be successful, especially as Black people, right? We're told that there are these things that we have to tick these boxes off before we can be valued and respected as people. But I'm here to tell you that's not true. You are a valuable person without any of those things. And I'm here to tell you that you can choose what is important to you. You can choose your own priorities and you can make a whole life for yourself that serves those priorities and ignores the things that other people are telling you should be doing. So I'm getting, we're getting off topic. I'm getting excited, but seriously, housing is the thing that people think that it doesn't exist and they think, it sounds like a fantasy, but it's real. And you can decide if you want to be a person who can live where you want, when you want, right? You want to go places. Maybe you want to boycott winter. Maybe you want winter 365 days of the year. Like maybe you love snow and skiing, right? You can decide what your priorities are and you can set your life up so that you have all of that, right? All of the good stuff.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That's
It
Anybody
is
that's
great.
interested in traveling or just changing their life, like you say, because that's what you did. You decided, hey, this isn't working for me. I got to do something different, and you found a way with house
Yes.
sitting. Tell us some of the challenges someone may face with this, and and also the good part, plus the great things about house sitting.
The great things are that, like I said, you get to be where you want when you want to be there. You get a built-in community when you go to go to house sit for someone, right? They live in a neighborhood. You're not staying in a hotel, so you have to, figure things out. When you're staying in someone's home, you have like built-in community. You have neighbors. You have some support. Um, and then you get, if you're pet sitting, which most of the time when I house sit, it's because they want me to take care of their pets. Most house sits are pet sits, right? When you're pet sitting, you just get some company because you do get lonely. Whether when you're traveling long term, you're traveling full time like I do, you do get lonely. So it's nice to have a pet there to, to hang out with. You walk, you leave, and you come back in the door, and their tail is wagging. They're so happy to see you. So that's
Uh,
a nice bonus. It's something that you don't really plan for, you don't really think ahead about, but it's a really good bonus of house sitting. But there are some downsides. So
okay.
if you're talking about traveling full time, I already said, it can be lonely. You need to find a community of people, whether it's neighbors or whether it's an online community.
Uh,
Pretty much any place that you want to go, there is a community of new people there who have gathered on the internet somewhere, right? There's probably a Facebook group for expats or for students or, for new retirees in that community. So you can join a Facebook group or join some kind of group for other new people, and you can meet other people who are already there to help fight that loneliness. House sitting also is not good when you're a person who needs someone to help you figure things out, right? So if you're okay with landing in a house in a strange city and not knowing anything and having to figure everything out. Where is the grocery store? How do I use the train, right? The metro system. If
uh,
you're okay with figuring these things out, you're going to thrive with house sitting. If you need someone to help you with these things, if either house sitting is not going to work or you're going to have to get a house sitting partner, right? Like get a buddy to come house sit with
okay.
you
Oh,
who is
yeah.
good at these things, right? Get somebody
Uh,
who can strengthen those weaknesses for you because you have to be okay. I land sometimes. I get to people's homes after they're gone.
uh,
Either the key is in the lockbox or they have like the keypad entry,
uh,
and I got to figure it all out. Right? They have a little bit of instructions on like the toaster oven doesn't turn itself off. Make sure you turn the toaster oven off. Right? A little bit of instructions, but everything else I have to figure it out on my own. Sometimes I house sit for 3 months straight. So I really need to learn how to navigate this place. I can't just stay in the house for 3 months. I got to learn how to use the bus or the train. I got to learn which restaurants are good, which restaurants I don't like. So it's always a new adventure trying to figure out, a new place.
yeah. See, I like that. That sounds cool. Like you said, it's a new adventure. You got to figure some things out. It's not being on a resort with the
Right.
with the prepaid drinks. You gotta. You're not a vacationer. You're a real traveler.
That's right. That's right. You're like a resident. You live there for that period of time. That's right. Yeah. So you have to figure things out, but you do get it's like such a wonderful experience. It's a wonderful way to see a new place or even a place you've been before. It's a wonderful way to see it on a different level. You see people getting up and going to work at 6 in the morning. I house sit a lot in Mexico. I spend like 6 months out of the year in Mexico. And so, you just get to see like in Mexico, in Lake Chapala, people still ride horses sometimes to
Wow.
places. They still use horses as transportation. So you get to see that. You get to see what everyday life is, not just the stuff that, the hotel stuff, the resort stuff.
That sounds awesome. I see. I like stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Uh-huh.
sure the people that have taken your course and that you interact with, they're ready for a change. They're ready for an adventure, and so I'm sure that they really get a lot out of what you're offering.
Yeah, they do. I think most people get into it just because they want to travel more, right? Or for less, travel more on less money. But then, just like it happened to me, they start to find out, um, find like find themselves. That sounds really, woo woo or whatever, but you get to find the parts of you that you haven't had a chance to nurture before. It really is a wonderful journey when you can take a lot of time and not have to be focused on your job. You don't know what's going to come up, what's going to bubble up. I'm a different person. Like I am a different person. I used to come home from work. I worked night shift. I would sit on the couch. I would get home in the morning, 6:30, 7 a.m. I would sit on the couch. I would pull out my calculator. I would calculate like how many more days until, like either how many more days until my next vacation, or how many days until retirement. That was always really sad, right? Because I was 40, 41. How many more days until retirement? And then I would fall asleep, usually on the sofa, right? Not even make it to bed, and just repeat. That was my entire day. That was my entire week. That was my entire month, right? Just repeat that cycle.
Yeah.
But your whole life isn't going to be work. Man, you don't know what's going to come. You don't know who you're going to be, what things are going to interest you. You get to try stuff. You get to fail at stuff. You get to try new things, meet new people. Yeah, I recommend it. I recommend it.
Yeah, that sounds great. And so your program is overall is targeted, anybody can get out of, a lot out of your program, but is focused on Black women.
Yeah.
What's the reason behind that? What are you seeing that need in the that Black women have?
I see Black women just getting the message that you're not valuable until you're just exhausted, right? We exhaust Black women for things like she's raising 8 children on her own, and she's in medical school, and she runs her own business, and she teaches at her church, and right? You don't get valued. I see Black women don't get valued until they are at the brink of just exhaustion, like a foot in the grave, almost dead from working themselves to death too early, right? I see it. I hate that. I hate that messaging. I reject that messaging. You can have a life of rest and joy and relaxation and fun and still be a valuable person. So I talk to Black women. Plus, I'm a Black woman. I get us, right? I understand. It's easy for me to talk to Black women because I get Black women. I understand the questions that we're going to have, right? There are specific questions that even women long-term travelers have to answer that other people don't have these questions, right? Is this place safe for me as a Black person? Is this place safe for me as a woman, right? So I understand those questions. So I speak my YouTube channel and I speak directly to Black women, but this message is not a message that other people can't benefit from, right? You said you heard the house sitting, you heard me ring the house sitting bell, and you're like, that's for me, right? Yeah. So House Sitter School is open to everyone. Even though when I introduce my YouTube channel, I say I help Black women take a sabbatical, right? But the House Sitter School, anybody can house sit. And I mean, literally anybody. A lot of house sitters are retirement age, retirees who have plenty of time and can go wherever they want, right? A lot of house sitters are digital nomads like me who work online, or remote workers now. A lot of us are now remote workers. When we asked before and our job was like, no, you can't work remotely, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, sure you can, So a lot of house sitters are remote workers. A lot of house sitters are people who just want to house sit on vacation time, right? Maybe you do work in a location, you work in a physical location, but you have vacation time and you want to make sure you use that vacation time. Don't let it keep rolling over and rolling over. You want to use that vacation time that is a part of your employee benefits package, please. Right. So you want to house sit on your vacations. House sitting can work for you. House sitting works for families. There are families who house sit together. Families, single people, mother-daughter, like intergenerational house sitting teams, father-son, whatever. Anybody can house sit. Like you can do it. It's for you.
That's great. And like I said, that being able to, like I said, house it as a team or a family is really great.
Mhm.
That sounds awesome.
It is. It is. Yeah. So you don't. So you want to go to Disney World for the spring break or whatever? You can find a house sit in Orlando. You apply for that house sit. You talk to the client. They usually do a video call. Talk to that client. You guys meet meet on your video call, and they approve you. Next thing you know, you're going to Disney World without having to pay for a place to stay.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of families, a lot of people that would love to do something like that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's also good for the opposite, right? If you are a person who has pets or has plants and you're super
Uh,
nervous about leaving, you don't want to put your pet in a in a kennel, or you don't want your plants to die while you're taking this awesome vacation. Bring in a house sitter, right? That's what I do. Bring in a house sitter. They will take care of things for you so you can travel with peace of mind. Yeah.
yeah, that like you said, that really benefits, like you said, a lot of people.
Hmm.
They want their pet to stay in a familiar place.
Yes.
You know, yeah, that is great.
Yep.
So Stephanie, as we're getting close to wrapping up, uh, let everybody know how they can get in contact with you. You know, partake in your program, and where they can find you on social media.
All right. On social media, I am at Vicarious. I picked that name originally when I left to go on my gap year. When I left to go on my sabbatical, it was like I wanted people to vacation vicariously through me, right? So I'm at Vicarious, but I don't want you to vacation vicariously through me anymore. I want you to do it for yourself, right? I want you to live your travel dreams. So you can follow me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm at Vicarious. You can follow me to get information on how you can make it work for you, right? Don't follow me to get the vacation vicariously through me. Follow me if you want to do it, right? If you want some instruction on how to do it. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Stephanie Perry. I have a YouTube channel that walks you through how you can do it. Okay. This is not about watching me do it or watching other people travel and live. This is about you living your travel dreams. Okay. I hope that I have made that clear. Do it. I want you to. I want you to. If this is something that's on your mind or in your heart, I want you to live it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then House Sitter School, of course, the link to House Sitter School is in the description or in the show notes. House Sitter School is the lesson that walks you through getting your very first house sit, booking that very first house sit for new people.
Let me get that link again.
Yeah. Yeah, use Sid's link for House Sitter School. That way you can if you want somebody to help walk you through it, right? If you feel like I'm a little nervous about this, because when I joined Trusted House Sitters, I joined Trusted House Sitters and then I didn't apply for house sits because I was like, I don't know any Black house sitters. Are people going to book a Black house sitter? I was so nervous that I didn't even bother to apply, and my money, I'd paid the membership and my money was just going to waste. So if you're feeling nervous about it, you don't have to go it on your own. I'm here to help answer your questions and help you get over that hump, that initial fear. It's normal fear, a little fear about something that's new, right? You're supposed to be a little bit afraid of new things, but doesn't mean you don't do it. Okay. I've said the words do it 1,000 times in this 1 30-minute session because I want you to do it. Okay. So I don't want that fear to be a barrier. Okay. We're going to determine our own destiny, and we're going to determine that we're going to do that by getting the support that we need. And I can be that support if you want to holler at me.
Yeah, and I can attest. I've watched quite a few of Stephanie's videos and her live webinars, and she gives a lot of great information. That's why I contacted her about being on the podcast, being on the show, because I really feel like a lot of people can get a lot out of what you're offering.
Mhm.
So many people want to change their lives now, especially after this COVID thing.
Yes.
People have taken the lifestyle blue pill. They like, hey, this I gotta do something different. You know,
Yes, that's
this
right.
you
That's
know,
right. Yes.
yeah. So then
I
this
love
is
to
one of
see it.
those things. The house sitting you're talking about is one of those ways that people can begin to change their life and create something new for themselves and enjoy life.
Hmm. That's right. That's right. It did it for me. I'm a witness.
All
Yeah.
right, it's been great having you on, Stephanie, and you got some supporters on here. This you got quite a few people on here who are giving you praises, and I'm glad to see that. Glad to see that that people you know are getting a lot out of your program and are very happy with what you're offering. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Great. Yes. Hi, friends. Yes. Yeah, it's a movement. It's a movement. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a movement. People, you're right. The blue pill. People are like, yes, I'm going to do things a different way. Right. This way is not serving me. I'm gonna do it a different way. Yes.
All right, it's been great having you on.
Thank
This
you. My pleasure.
This is Sid Owsley from the Determination Determines Destination podcast, the 3Ds to Success. We share stories of people who use the 3Ds to success. Determination determines destination to overcome obstacles and challenges in their life. We've had on the expert house sitter, Stephanie Perry, on the show. The link to her program is in the comments. Check her out. Check out her YouTube channel. She gives a lot of great information. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel, The 3Ds to Success, and get a free gift about your goals and aligning them with your values on sidowsley.com. Like, share, and subscribe. This is Sid Owsley. I'm out.